You don't need to be a professional investor or understand complicated money words in order to make your money work significantly harder. In fact, earning more interest is less about beating the market and more about understanding a simple system that most people just plain ignore. If you're still using a big name bank, you're likely paying a complacency tax that's costing you hundreds of dollars. In this video, I'm going to break down the specific options available to you right now so you can move from being a casual saver to an informed one, ensuring that every dollar you've worked for is actually returning the favor. I'm going to show you exactly how much interest you can realistically earn right now so you can see if your current bank is holding you back, the 4 most effective ways to earn interest this year, from simple accounts to tax-efficient strategies that you may not have considered, and a 3-tier system to organize your savings, protect your emergency fund, while also maximizing your long-term growth. But before we dive into the numbers, we have to address why most of us are so bad at going where the money is. It's not inherently your fault. It's literally a force of habit. If we go back to the early 1980s, but way before my time, you could walk into a bank, open a basic bank account, and they just lay out the interest carpet for you. You didn't have to be smart or have a strategy. You just had to show up. But as the decades have passed, banks realize we can keep all these people's money and pay them less, and they'll stay here. So now we've entered into the era of the 0.01 interest rate. And the problem is, though, that most people are still acting like we're in 2010, where you don't have buku options. The market has opened up massive new opportunities to make money on your money. Being loyal to a big bank today is effectively paying them a fee for the pleasure of holding our money. To get ahead now, we need to break that cycle. Start putting our dollar in positions where they can actually perform. So let's talk numbers. When people hear maximize your interest, they often think you're talking about like high-risk investments or get-rich-quick schemes, but we're talking about safe money, your savings. Is this interest going to be life-changing money? No. It's not going to likely allow you to quit your job tomorrow, but is it going to be impactful? Absolutely. To give you a real-world example, if you have $10,000 sitting in a traditional savings account at a big bank, earning 0.01%, you're earning a grand total of $1 in interest over the entire year. That's not even enough to buy you a candy bar today. My husband went to the store and he actually found a candy bar being sold for $8. Okay. However, if you move that same $10,000 to a high yield account, even with rate shifting, right now you can be looking at interest rates that are about 3.5% to 4%, which means you would make $350 to $400 this year. I recently looked at my own accounts, and by just being intentional about where my cash was sitting, I earned over $735 in interest last year. And that's not a huge windfall, but it is a paid flight, a few weeks of groceries, a nice dinner out. It's money that's already yours, finally returning the favor of the hard work you did to earn it. The gold standard right now in early 2026 is generally 3.5 to 4.5% interest. Anything less than that, and you're essentially leaving free money on the table. So now, if you want to stop paying that complacency tax, which is basically the fee you're paying for not doing anything, what are your actual options? So there are 4 main ways to earn interest on your savings, and they range from set it and forget it to a little bit more strategic. So first, let's start with the high yield savings account. This is the most accessible starting point. These are typically digital-only bank accounts that don't have the overhead of a physical location, so they pass those savings on to you in the form of higher interest rates. I primarily use Marcus and Ally. They're incredibly user-friendly, and moving money in and out is pretty seamless. Just a note, a lot of these accounts have referral bonuses. So if you have a friend who already banks at one of these accounts, it's a win-win to use a referral link. Often you'll get a temporary boost of extra interest earned or a cash bonus, which effectively raises your earnings even higher than the advertised interest rate. I'll leave my referral links below for Marcus and Ally if you want to use them. The next place you could store your savings for more interest is actually in your brokerage accounts. A lot of modern brokerage accounts are kind of blurring the lines between banking and investing, so that if you have an account with someone like Fidelity or Vanguard, your idle cash, the cash that's not actively being invested, can earn high interest automatically. On some platforms like Fidelity, you can actually set your account to automatically sweep your cash into a money market fund that could be yielding around 3.5%. This isn't universally available across all platforms, though. Some brokerages require that you manually buy into a fund. So it's up to you to look into this reach out to your brokerage provider, ask questions, see how you can earn interest on cash that's sitting in your investment accounts. This is one of the easiest ways to automate your interest. The next place you can house your savings are T-bills or treasury bills. This is essentially a short-term loan you're giving to the government. This is especially useful in high-tax states like California and New York. Right now in early 2026, these are yielding about 3.5%. But here's the kicker. The interest that you earn on T-bills is generally exempt from state and local taxes, while the interest that you build in your other accounts are not. They are subject to taxes. So I'm not a tax professional, so you should definitely consult with one for your specific situation. But for many people, not having to pay taxes on that interest makes it equal to what you get in a high yield savings account that's giving more interest than 3.5%. Next, let's talk about CDs, certificates of deposit. With interest rates fluctuating, likely going down, CDs are a great tool for protection against falling interest rates. When you open your CD, you're agreeing to leave your money there for a set amount of time in exchange for a fixed rate. If rates drop across the board in 6 months, your CD is still earning today's higher rate. There is a flip side, though, that if interest rates start to increase, your CDs do stay stuck at the rate that you chose. But this is a great way to lock in current interest rates before they slide down any further. So now that you know what your options are, how do you put this all together? You don't want to just throw all your money in a CD and then I can't pay rent next month. So consider a 3-tier system where your money stays liquid but productive. So first off, for your day-to-day expenses, you should keep about a month worth of expenses in either regular checking account or high yield checking account. You're not going to make a lot of interest here, but your money remains very accessible. So kind of expensive talking about here is like, your bills, your groceries, your gas, all that kind of thing. Keep about 1 month of expenses in a regular checking or high yield checking account. This is going to be money you need for things like gas, groceries, bills. It might not earn the highest, but it's very accessible to you. And if you choose a high yield checking account, it's still going to be the pennies you get or the no interest you get at a traditional big bank. Next, you need your emergency fund. This should be a separate dedicated high yield savings account, ideally, like Marcus or Ally. This is about 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. It's separate from your daily spending so that you don't touch it, but still earning that 3.5 to 4.5% that we are seeing now. If you have an emergency, you can move it into your checking account within a day or two. Again, if you want to check out Marcus and Ally, referral links are below. So now let's talk about the third tier of the system. Any cash that's beyond your emergency fund, maybe you're saving for a down payment in 2 years. That'll go into this bucket. So this is where you can still continue to use a separate high yield savings account, or you can use T-bills or CDs. Seeing as we're expecting interest rates to continue falling this year, using T-bills and CDs for your savings is a way of locking in a higher interest rate so that your savings are not subject to the falling interest rates we plan to see. By using this tiered system, where you have your checking account being the first tier, your emergency fund being second tier, and then your future money, aka sinking funds, being the third tier, you're not just saving money just to save money. You're managing your cash like a CFO, Chief Financial Officer. You have peace of mind knowing that your bills are covered today, while your future self is getting paid interest tomorrow. Earning more interest in your money is not about luck. It's about being intentional. So with just a 10-minute audit of your bank accounts, you can pay for a flight, cover your car payment, or just provide that extra bit of breathing room that we all need. Move from being a casual saver who accepts whatever the big banks give you to an informed saver who gets a return on their money. Now, we briefly touched on high yield savings accounts today, but if you're still feeling unsure about how it works and why they offer higher interest rates when your bank can't, you need to watch this next video. There, I will pull back the curtain on how these accounts operate so you can feel 100% confident moving your money.